to day 8, I think it is, of our little barn house bathroom renovation. And today is going to start off by making just a little bit of mess. I got to sand that drywall from yesterday, the drywall mud. But as soon as that's done, we're going to start cleaning this place up. I don't think we're going to make any more mess, and then we're going to actually start making a lot of progress. We're going to actually hopefully start painting today, and even waterproofing and getting some trim prepped and a lot of really nice clean stuff, because I'm really tired of making all this drywall dust. I mean, our house has it everywhere. It's one of the worst things about sanding up drywall. So anyway, like I said, I'll start off by sanding this, and we're going to do a super deep clean in here so that's ready for paint. And there we go. I am going to call it quits for the drywall. I think it looks good enough. It is definitely not professional, but I am happy with it enough to stick with it. So, especially this corner here, it definitely come out nice and straight and looks so much better than the other day when I really screwed up that mud when I put it on. So I think it looks nice. So now, what we got to do is clean up this mess. There is dust everywhere. The walls are coated. I mean, we got to clean up the ceiling, even just like the crevices on the door. It's like going into the rooms now. It is all over the place, and we're tracking it all around the house. So we're going to do a super deep clean, get rid of all this dust, and that way we can get prepped for waterproofing the shower and painting the walls. And before we paint walls, I think we're going to go ahead and hang up paneling here behind the vanity, and then also here on the back wall. It's the ones we primed the other day. We'll get them hung, and then we can start painting in here. So that should be pretty cool. There's going to be some real visible progress happening today. A few years ago, when we were redoing the rest of our house, we found it was totally worth it to buy a cheap little shop vac just to suck up all the drywall dust. I mean, when you try using a broom, it'll get, you know, the bulk of it, but you won't get everything. And the problem with sucking up the dust on one of these is that it never acts the same again. It's always going to blow dust out the back. We've tried to clean it so many times. So this is now our dedicated dust sucker upper. While I was up sanding and then cleaning all that drywall dust, my wife was out here working on the trim. The ceiling trim pieces from last night, she put a second coat of primer on there, and once they dried, she brought out the floor trim pieces as well and put on a coat of semi-gloss white. So now that they're drying, we can put on a second coat here pretty soon, and it's just about time to start adding the paneling up on the walls. So some big changes are going to start happening. So while we've been deep cleaning the house, it started raining, so we had to run out and grab all of our trim and bring it inside. And now that we're only painting it with water-based paint, we can do it inside no problem. So now what I'm doing is, and of course the lighting's terrible now, but I'm damp mopping the whole thing because we don't want to track this anywhere. All the dust footprints around the house, we're trying to get rid of all that. And this feels good to have it super clean. So the very first thing we're going to start doing is we're going to start putting the primed paneling up on the wall. The first piece should just fit straight up here, but the second piece is going to have to get cut out around the window. Alright, so we brought the first piece of paneling up. This one's nice and straight, and we test fitted it to see if it was going to just go right up, and we actually had to trim about a ½ inch off of there. I think that's because we had to bump that wall out the other day. But now that's in here, it's going to fit. So what I did is, if you remember the other day, I made little X's wherever I found nails holding the drywall up, and that tells me where the studs are. And I actually transferred those down to pieces of tape on the ground and up on the ceiling. So that way when we put this up and we can't see the X's anymore, we know where to shoot the nails. Now, not only am I using nails, but I'm also using some of this glue right here. It's made for trim and paneling, which I think will hold up just fine. And the nails will just kind of hold into place till this set. So it should be a pretty simple process. This one's nice and straight. The next one we'll have to cut out around the window. And then when we put some at the vanity we'll have to piece it together a little bit. We'll have to cut out holes for the 2 little water spigot things down at the bottom, and then also for the light box or electric box up top. Let's put some of that adhesive on there right now, and we'll nail it up. So the nails are going in real easy. The glue's holding it nice and tight. I mean, it feels very secure now, so pretty easy. All right, so we were cutting water in the basement as it started raining, and it's coming down so hard that it flooded our drain pipe, and now it's coming to the basement. So we're hooking up the sump pump, and it's just, we weren't expecting this, but whatever. We'll work through it. Hopefully a tornado don't come through. Okay, so that was super intense. We were downstairs in the basement cutting the panels to fit on the walls because it was raining outside, and then a huge giant lightning, thunder, and downpour storm just rushed in, and it come in so hard that our little drain down at the downstairs staircase just started filling up, and then it flooded our basement right where we were working. So I had to run out and put the sump pump on, and it was crazy. But we got them all fit, and they're looking really cool. I'm gonna put the last 2 up, and I'll show you how much bigger that room looks just with these up. It's pretty cool. Now check that out. This room looks way better just with the paneling on, and that's just primer too. That's not even the real paint. So this wall has a solid sheet down here, except we had to cut like 3/8 of an inch off there. And then the same thing here. This panel gave us a little bit issue. We cut 3/8 off, and it wasn't enough because the corner was a little off, so we ended up cutting more, and that's why it looks all wonky. And we cut out the window, and somehow I measured an inch too high there, but it'll get covered with trim. It'll look okay. But the main point is that the room looks huge now. Just that nice bright white instead of all the mismatch of colors here opens it up. And then those long vertical or horizontal lines, horizontal lines just make it look a lot bigger. And because there's a paneling over here and we have the panels over here, it just feels huge in here now. It feels like 2 feet wider. It's pretty cool. So we really like this paneling. It's like I said, it's cedar. These are about, I don't remember now if they're 4 inches or 5 inches wide. And they just have a really cool look, you know, kind of rustic, kind of modern. We have a modern barn house, so we thought it worked really well. The one bad thing about this paneling is that since it's real cedar, where there's little knots, they take them out and they put this filler in there. So it leaves these weird little knot holes. So if you're not crazy about that, if you don't like that look, then this may not be for you. But we like it. We kind of like that a little bit rustic, kind of, cool little look to it. Also, each panel was like 34 bucks for a 4x8 sheet. It was really expensive for what it was. So we had to buy $100 worth of panels just to do that wall and this little half wall here. We have like a 2/3 of a sheet left over, but you can kind of see I did a really bad cut there too, but that'll get cut by trim. So anyway, now we are probably going to start red guarding in the shower. We decided to go ahead and get the first coat on there, so that way we kind of know where it's going to end, and then we'll start painting after that. We got to do the ceiling and then all in here, and this room's going to feel way different once that gets done. So we'll start red guard next, and we'll see how that goes. All right, check it out. We are getting the paint up on the walls now. We're using a satin paint that is made for like mold and mildew protection because it's a bathroom. We figured there's going to be a lot of moisture, but we've painted a couple of these walls and the ceiling, and it's already looking really nice. Haven't gotten here yet, and we haven't painted that one yet either. But what I'm doing is I just prepped the floor of the shower because I don't want to get any waterproofing on it, and taped up really nice. And what I'm going to use is red guard, which is kind of like paint almost. You just roll it on and you can brush it on, and it's like, kind of a light pink when it goes on, and then when it dries it turns red. And you're supposed to do 2 coats, and from what I understand you can just roll it on with a roller. In the corners you want to brush those, and the first coat you just go up and down the whole way. Just make sure it's on nice and thick, really get in the corners. And then in about an hour, hour and a half it should dry, and then you kind of check it to see if there's any pinholes anywhere, and you go over those with a brush. And then you put on a second coat, and the second coat you go sideways over the whole thing. And that should be it. So I don't know if that gallon will be more than enough to do 2 coats. If I could do 3, I might do that, and I might even consider doing the ceiling just because. I mean, it's just regular drywall in the whole bathroom because it's all old drywall, probably before they had the green board or blue board stuff. So, I mean, if I can protect it, I can. If I don't have enough, then I won't worry about it too much. So, anyway, I'll start red guarding this, and we'll see how it turns out. Should be pretty cool. Look at that. It's like pink pudding almost. So I'm going to start with the corners here. Alright, so now I'm rolling it on, and it's going on pretty easy. It smells a little weird. It's not as bad. I thought it'd be a lot more obnoxious than it is, but it's not bad. It does seem like it's maybe a little thin. I'm not exactly sure. You're supposed to use like a little gauge, and I have no idea where you find something like that. So I'm just kind of guessing about how thick it is, but it looks pretty good, and it's going on just as easy as paint. And here's our first coat of paint. It's looking pretty good. Nice and bright white on here. We definitely got to do a second, probably a third coat. You can see there's some thin spots, but looks pretty good. Now my old walls here are still a little rough looking, but I mean the whole house is kind of like that. There's super old walls that are nail holes everywhere and crinkles and things like that. Now the paneling boards here look pretty awesome. The white paint is way brighter than that primer was on here, so this, I mean, it is super bright in here now. We really like it. Looks pretty cool. And then we have not done that wall yet because we didn't know how far out we were going to go with red guard, and we haven't done the ceiling in there yet. But here's the red guard. Bright pink is where it's fresh, and the dark, almost blood red, is where it's starting to dry. And it seems like it went on really thin. It says to like check the mill thickness, and there's like a gauge you can use, and I don't know where you find something like that. And I imagine most people grab this stuff and just put it on according to the directions, just roll it on, so I think I'm fine. And I just tried to get it on extra thick. My little shower here basically took half of this gallon right here, so that kind of gives you an idea how much it covers. And then I will put a second coat on later, and probably use up the whole thing. Now they did say to look for pinholes, and I know I have a ton of them. I mean, you can kind of see them here. This cement board is really rough stuff, so I'm gonna have to go over the whole thing with the brush. I did use the brush like over the screw holes too to make sure it was extra thick. But I think it's gonna work out pretty good. And I'll get that second coat on there in a little bit, probably about an hour from now after it dries, and then we'll finish painting after that. And it should look pretty good, and we can keep on moving. This place is really starting to change today. So while the paint and the red guard are drying up there in the bathroom, I'm gonna go ahead and put a second coat of semi-gloss white paint on all the trim boards. And hopefully by the time I get done with them, I can go check, and maybe I can put a second coat up there in the bathroom. Alright, so that first coat dried. You can see it's a nice deep red. So I was going through, like they said, to look for pinholes, and there's so many, and it just seemed like that roller, it was taking forever. The roller was starting to dry up and hard to roll and all that. So I don't know if this is quite correct or not, but I'm just doing the whole second coat, you know, horizontally with the brush. And it's filling in all the pinholes this way and taking care of it. So that's what I'm doing. If it's wrong, I don't know, but it seems to be okay. They did mention that there's like a certain thickness that you don't want to go over, so I'm trying to not get too crazy heavy thick with this. So I'm kind of thinning it out as I put it on. It seems to be working fine. It's covering a lot better than it did on that first coat. So check it out. We have 2 coats of the satin white on the walls now. They look really, really nice. And this wall looks awesome too. So there's only a little bit of touch up, I think, on this wall. We need a little bit more. So when we do that, we're going to put a second coat here because we just barely have a first coat, and we haven't even touched in there yet because we want this to flash over and turn red before we paint there. So we got that left to do tonight. And then this is the second coat of red guard. I just finished, so it's still about half pink. I started at the top so that way we can do this as soon as possible. But it looks really nice. I definitely feel more confident in my second coat than my first. And if you're wondering, yes, I did do the whole thing with that little cheap 2-inch chip brush, but it worked great. It only took a little bit longer than that roller. That roller was a real pain. It was hard to get in all the super deep concrete crevices and all that, so the brush worked. And I would take their advice to wear gloves because it's kind of hard to see, but man, this stuff gets all over the place. And anyway, I still have about, I would say, a fifth to a fourth of this left over. This is a gallon. And I took care of this, and I got 2 coats, and that second coat was a lot heavier than the first. And we had to pick this up at Home Depot. It was 50 bucks. I actually bought 2 of them because I didn't know how many we needed. So we can take that back and save 50 bucks. So that'd be pretty awesome. So we're going to let this dry. And then, like I said, we'll paint up there. And that probably will be about all we do tonight. So we got 2 coats on all the walls again. There's probably just a little bit more touch up. We did the ceiling above the shower. So I think we're going to definitely call it quits for tonight. And this place has really come along today. We made a lot of huge changes today. This bright white makes it feel clean, plus not all the junk all over the floor and the dust and all that. It feels amazing in here. And just, I can't get over how much bigger it feels because it's white. So it's really cool. It's really coming along. So we're going to get a lot more done tomorrow. And like always, I want to thank you for checking out this video and seeing how our barn house bathroom renovation is going. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. I really appreciate that. If you liked it, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. That really helps get it out in front of other people that might like to check it out too. And if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do that to keep up with more videos. And if you want to see some other projects I have some here on the screen and down in the description below as well.